cold sitting on a cold rock in winter than in open space, as in the vacuum, there's nowhere for your body heat to go. A more threatening thing would be a lack of oxygen. Without it, you couldn't last more than 2 minutes. But even the oxygen wouldn't save you because, due to the absence of pressure in open space, the oxygen in your lungs would start expanding, literally tearing them apart, and your blood would boil, stopping the circulation. Divers face a similar, though way less severe, risk when they ascend from the deep sea and experience a massive pressure drop. Therefore, to protect yourself at least a little before doing a spacewalk without any protection, try to exhale as much as you can from your lungs. It won't save you from other horrifying effects, though. All the fluids in your body, like blood and tears, will start to boil and expand. Consequently, the rest of your body fluids would also expand, but your skin would be stretchy enough to handle the pressure change. So those gruesome movie scenes of people exploding in space are total fiction. Let's just hope they can get you back on board in time, because our next stop is the moon. Back in 2017, SpaceX announced a tourist flight around the moon sponsored by Japanese billionaire Yusaka Maezawa. The businessman even launched a TV show to find a companion to spend 6 days. But he refused that idea later. Instead, he decided to bring 8 artists aboard, hoping to inspire them to create something new. But even this flight will go without landing on the moon, and for good reason. Just like open space, the moon has no atmosphere, pressure, or oxygen. Its only advantage is that in a spacesuit, you can bounce super high and far thanks to the moon's weaker gravity compared to Earth's. But the suit isn't going to shield you from meteorite hits, which are pretty common on the moon. Plus, you could fall into one of those deep craters and lose contact with your spacecraft. At the same time, moon dust could damage the air supply system and dirty up your visor, thus making it hard to see and might even harm the suit itself. But the moon is just a pit stop on a real interplanetary voyage. Traveling to Mars is only a matter of time. NASA is actively developing cutting-edge spacecraft engines that will reduce the travel time to just 4 months. Elon Musk is even planning to establish the first colony on Mars as part of a special SpaceX program. And conveniently, a Martian day nearly matches an Earth day, 24 hours and 39 minutes. Potential colonizers are attracted by Mars's vast surface area, which is almost equivalent to all of Earth's continents combined. There's the presence of an atmosphere, and Martian soil suitability for growing plants, and the potential for extracting fuel, and most importantly, water. But you could hardly go outside to water your garden without a spacesuit, as the average temperature on Mars is minus 63 degrees Celsius. And if you dared to venture out unprotected, mind that the thin Martian atmosphere wouldn't shield you from harmful solar radiation. So you'd freeze and have radiation burns at the same time. And the intense dust storms would ensure you had little to no chance of survival. Worst of all, owing to the low atmospheric pressure, the liquids in your body would begin to evaporate and you'd literally dry out. It seems staying inside a greenhouse or on board a spacecraft might be the best bet, at least until Mars has undergone terraforming in about 1,000 years or so. If even the most Earth-like planet is so lethal for humans, what might be awaiting us in other corners of the solar system? If you've survived a journey to Mars, you've rightfully earned the title of an experienced space traveler and are set to embark on an expedition to one of the most extreme planets. A single day on Mercury spans 176 Earth days, so you might not have much time to enjoy a sunset on this planet closest to the sun. To endure even a few minutes on Mercury, your spacesuit needs to withstand temperatures of up to 400 degrees Celsius, or down to minus 180 if you're a fan of night strolls. In Mercury's case, the latter might be the right decision. During the day, powerful solar storms could disrupt all the equipment on your spacecraft. Then your spacesuit would offer little protection, and you'd get roasted in the flow of the searing solar winds. And if you managed to scream for help, you'd probably just end up making everyone laugh. This is because Mercury's extremely thin atmosphere contains traces of helium, which distorts the voice. However surprising it may sound, there is a planet that's even hotter and more dangerous than Mercury. You would truly need to be a fearless explorer to venture to Venus. Its atmosphere is primarily composed of carbon dioxide, resulting in a greenhouse effect that pushes the average temperature on the planet to 467 degrees Celsius. We haven't yet invented an alloy that can withstand the harsh conditions of Venus. Thus, if you dare to land on it, don't count on your spacesuit. Just 5 seconds, and a roasted human is ready. Don't hope for a cool night either, as a day on Venus lasts for 230 Earth days, ensuring its atmosphere is evenly heated. But even without the scorching heat, the surface pressure, which is 90 times greater than Earth's, would crush you. So if you're planning a trip to Venus, it would be best to stick to a sightseeing tour from orbit, especially since the journey to the next planet in the tour would be very long. Jupiter is more than 5 times farther from the Sun than the Earth. The gas giant itself is so massive that it could fit 1,300 Earths within it. However, despite its size, Jupiter rotates incredibly quickly, completing a turn every 10 hours. To truly visit this giant planet, you'd have to jump from a spacecraft straight into its clouds because it has no solid surface. Such a dive would be extreme because of the stark contrast range, from minus 185 degrees in Jupiter's upper layers to 1,700 degrees Celsius in its ocean of condensed hydrogen, marking the end of your visit. Meanwhile, storms with winds reaching up to 600 kilometers per hour would buffet you around, especially if you dive into the Great Red Spot, which is a colossal storm. Isn't it better to admire it from a telescope? But that seems much too conventional. Even after such an extreme tour, I'm sure many wouldn't want to return to dull old Earth. But to settle on planets within the solar system, you'd need to demonstrate extraordinary adaptability. What would your home on different planets be like? Recently, NASA held a contest to design a Mars colony, won by a team from Arkansas. They proposed building small 2-story homes using a kind of space 3D printer, as it would be safer for humans. A robot will gather the building material directly from the Martian surface. This way, an entire settlement could be established. Thanks to the rounded shape, the structures will be more resistant to dust storms, while the large windows will capture maximum light for indoor plants and oxygen living spaces. Of course, the buildings will be fully airtight, with a special 2-stage entrance to maintain habitable conditions inside. However, this doesn't solve Mars's primary problem, the vulnerability of its surface to cosmic radiation. This radiation damages DNA, resulting in colonizers having an extremely high risk of developing cancer. Living in an enclosed space with limited communication, 225 million kilometers away from Earth, is likely to cause inevitable apathy and depression among the colonizers. So, could there be any better options elsewhere? How about the planet closest to the Sun? On Mercury, I'm sure you have the sun on the outside and solar panels for energy generation. And if you were planning to visit your neighbors, you need to consider designing secure connections between airships. Sounds like a plan. This is actually similar to what NASA is doing. However, we don't know what to do with the highly acidic fog and rainfall even if you have Venusian airship malfunction, you'd be forced into an emergency descent to the surface with all the horrifying consequences that would come with it. On Jupiter, similar airships would be entirely unfeasible due to the planet's powerful wind. To survive in Jupiter's dense clouds, their hull would have to resemble a steering bug with reliable impact protection. However, a typical day on Jupiter might feel like you're perpetually on a roller coaster, with your hull being tossed and turned in various directions. Such a living condition could induce severe seasickness and swelling of your legs on top of that, because the Jovian gravity, which is 2.5 times greater than Earth's, would make it challenging for blood to travel up through the vessels. You'd have to lie down most of the time, but you could also enjoy close-up views of Jupiter's moons, magnificent auroras. Apparently, even high-tech habitats would be needed to safely colonize the planet. The core issue is that our bodies are specifically adapted to Earth's conditions. But what if we could change that? How could humans evolve on different planets of the solar system? If we indeed colonize Mars within just 6,000 years, the skin of humans on Mars will turn orange as the usual melancholic lesion faced by keratin, the pigments found in carrots. At the same time, due to weaker gravity, bones would become significantly thinner and muscles weaker. Our heads would increase in size relative to our bodies, and so would our eyes, since Mars receives less sunlight than the Earth. However, in any case, humans wouldn't be able to breathe the Martian carbon dioxide atmosphere